Hey everybody, today we're talking about immunity and I'm going to be sharing an immune boosting smoothie bowl recipe. Now this is actually part 3 of a series of videos reviewing this book, Eat to Beat Disease by Dr. William Li. If you saw part 1 or part 2, you'll know that Dr. Li talks about your body as being a fortress that has defense systems, and the book is written around these 5 defense systems. Now in part 1 we talked about the angiogenesis defense system and I shared a squid ink pasta recipe inspired by the book. In part 2 we talked about the microbiome and I talked about some foods that you may not think of when it comes to gut health. So definitely check those videos out if you haven't already. I will link to them in the description of this video. Today in part 3 we're going to be talking about the immune defense system, something that all of us are familiar with. And I'm going to be sharing a recipe, again inspired by the book and the foods that he recommends to help boost your immune defense system. Now in the book, Dr. Li talks about the importance of boosting your immune defense system, not only to prevent the usual sicknesses like cold and flu, but also to prevent most of the diseases that we get, especially as we get older, because he says that pretty much every disease can be linked back to immunity. So having a really strong immune system is important for your overall health. Now, personally, I'm really interested in this and I'm doing more and more research in terms of what happens to your immune system as you get older. And as you get older, you really have to work hard to keep that immune system in top shape. So if you saw part 1 and part 2 in this series, you'll know that he gives you hundreds of foods to help boost your defense systems, and in the immune section he talks about the usual suspects we think about when it comes to immunity, things like chicken broth, garlic, mushrooms, green tea, and citrus fruits, high vitamin C foods, those sorts of things that we're all really familiar with. What I wanted to do today when I was creating this smoothie bowl was throw in a few ingredients that you may not be as familiar with in case you wanted to try something different when it comes to boosting your immunity, and I know a lot of you are just looking for variety. So what I'm going to do now is run you through a couple of the main ingredients in the smoothie bowl, and then I'm going to show you how I put it all together. So the first food I want to talk about is camu. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but that's how we'll go with it today. Camu is actually a small fruit about the size of a cherry. It's not something you can buy in supermarkets, so it's not readily available to the average person, but you can buy it in powder form on a lot of health websites. So I bought this one off of iHerb. Now the reason that Dr. Li likes camu so much is because it is supposed to be super high in vitamin C. It's supposed to be one of the most high vitamin C foods in the world. Now the second ingredient that I wanted to talk about is this pomegranate powder. Now pomegranates are supposed to be great for your immunity. When you look at the research, they are supposed to be able to help prevent the common cold and flu. So if you're in that season of the year, this is something that you could be adding to your smoothies to help boost your immunity. Now obviously you could use pomegranate fruit if you have access to it and you know how to crack it open and separate out all the seeds and stuff, but I've seen people do that on YouTube and it just looks like a mess, and I'm all about keeping things simple. So today I'm using this powder. Now there's a couple other things going in this smoothie bowl. The base of it's going to be some strawberries. Strawberries are another food he lists in the book as being good for your immunity. One of the things I like to do when I'm making smoothie bowls, or if I want a thicker smoothie, is I will use partially thawed berries. So I have a really good blender which can chew through icy things, and so I partially unthaw the berries, and what that does is it just makes your smoothie thicker, which is a really good trick as well if you're trying to make a smoothie bowl, because obviously you want the base to be thicker. I'm also going to be adding some goji berries on top because goji berries are another food that he recommends for immunity. Now a couple other things I wanted to mention is one of the big problems I have with most smoothies and smoothie bowl recipes, especially when you hop on a place like Pinterest and you start looking for recipes, is that they're really high sugar. And so I will use a little bit of banana in this recipe to sweeten it out, but you need to balance out your smoothies and your smoothie bowls with a little bit of protein and fat. So whatever you're making, I recommend also chucking in a bit of protein powder and some healthy fat. So that's pretty much it, and now I'm going to show you how I put it all together. That's my immune boosting smoothie recipe for you. One final thing I wanted to talk about before I let you go is that if you're somebody who suffers with frequent cold and flus, like you're somebody who's always getting sick, or maybe you have a more serious immune related condition that you're trying to address, I just wanted to make sure you knew that there's so much you can do to get your immune system back on track. You don't have to suffer all the time. For example, when I first moved to New Zealand, I spent my first year here so sick. I caught every single bug. And then I started to think about what was going on, and I had been living with my ex-partner at the time, and he was the one who was calling the shots with our food. So I was eating a lot of food that I wouldn't normally eat, and when I decided to change my diet back to what I preferred to eat, and I also added in some immune boosting supplements, I stopped getting sick all the time. And I just wanted to put that out there because I know there are some of you that really have a hard time when it comes to immunity, and there's so much you can do, and the best place to start is with your diet. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. If you try it, make sure you check out part 1 and part 2 of this series reviewing the Eat to Beat Disease book if you haven't already. I will link to them in the description of this video, and I'll also put a link to my meal plan there for those of you who are looking for a more done-for-you solution that is lifestyle friendly but also puts you on the right track for not only losing weight but getting healthier and boosting your immunity as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.